This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. I'm Oisin Langan. What a dramatic night last night was. Bohemians came from behind to earn a 3-2 win against Dundalk. Derry City left it late but managed to beat Sligo Rovers by 2-1. Rory Keating's injury time equaliser meant that Cork City, well, they remain second from bottom, but they keep par with Drogheda because they drew 0-0 with Shamrock Rovers. So had St. Pat's won, they would have been 2 points behind Rovers. As it is, the gap remains at 4 points. Derry City still in third position, but level on points with St. Pat's. They're both on 43. Dundalk fourth on 39. 39, I beg your pardon. Bohemians now on 38. They're just 1 point behind fourth place Dundalk. Shelbourne, following their 4-0 win against UCD, in sixth position on 34 points. Sligo Rovers, there's an 8-point gap between seventh place where they are and sixth place where Shells are. Sligo Rovers now just 1 point ahead of Drogheda. Cork City second from bottom on 23 and UCD bottom on 9 points. We will be going to Richmond Park to get the thoughts of Keith Treacy on St. Pat's performance, and he'll tell us what he thinks about Cork City. We'll also hear from Liam Buckley of Cork City and John Daly, the St. Pat's manager. Paul Crowley, formerly of Shamrock Rovers and Drogheda, will talk us through the scoreless draw between those two at Weavers Park, and we'll have a roundup of the First Division. First though, let's get all the detail from the Ryan McBride Brandywell, where Derry City enjoyed a 2-1 victory, a much needed victory against Sligo Rovers. Watching for us, former Derry City player Gareth McGlynn.
Thanks, Oisin. The final score here from the Ryan McBride Brandywell Stadium is Derry City 2, Sligo Rovers 1. It's Will Patching's late penalty got Derry City back to winning ways in a dramatic finale at the Brandywell. Minutes after, Sligo goalkeeper Luke McNicholas had denied Ben Doherty from the spot. Derry were awarded a second penalty, and Patching, who was the substitute, made no mistake with 94 minutes on the clock. City took the lead on a half hour, and I have to say Derry were the better team in the first 30 minutes. It was scrappy. You could see Sligo were committed and playing for their manager, but Derry went in front in the half hour, and it was an incisive through ball from Brandon Kavanagh, who for me was Derry's best player up until he came off after an hour. And then he put it on a plate for McGlynn, who swept home his third goal of the season. Sligo responded quickly, however. The Brandywell were silenced when former Derry City defender Danny Lafferty levelled just 10 minutes later. It was Niall Morahan, who to me was their best player on the night. The number 8 was brilliant the whole night, up and down, box to box, never gave the ball away. Very impressive. He did brilliantly to create space in the middle of the pitch, and he sent Lafferty forward into space. And then the fullback drilling the ball low past Brian Maher into the net. It was actually about 18 yards out, and he put it into Brian Maher's front post. But it was substitute Will Patching looked to have Derry's best chance of the night, and it was him that he got the winner. But he actually had a great chance on 75 minutes when he collected a pass from Ronan Boyce just inside the area, and he attempted to find the top corner with a brilliant curling effort which was cleared over the crossbar. Derry City dominated in the closing stages, and Doherty almost scored a spectacular second on 81 minutes. It was actually a carbon copy of the one he scored up in Tala recently to get that 1-1 draw. That was in 81 minutes when he met a Patrick McElhinney pass with a superb first time effort which hit the inside of the post and somehow stayed out. Moments later, Doherty took aim again, but this time his shot was brilliantly blocked by the half of John Mahon, and referee Neil Doyle pointed to his penalty spot. It was a great decision by Neil Doyle. He spotted the hand coming up from the body. Doherty stepped up, put his team back in front, but his effort was saved by McNicholas, who also stopped Doherty's rebound with a header. It was a great double save. Then it was left over to Will Patching in the 94th minute, and he made no mistake. It was a brilliant victory for Derry, and Rory Higgins will be absolutely delighted, considering it's their last league game now, with their home and away European match either side of the FAI Cup match with here at the Brandywell. So a great 3 points for Derry, and now it's off to Europe.
This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that was Gareth McGlynn on Derry's Late Show against Sligo Rovers. 2-1 the final score there. By the way, coming up, you're going to hear from Keith Treacy, and I mentioned Dundalk, Shamrock Rovers and St. Pat's all playing in Europe next week. I forgot to mention Derry in that conversation. Obviously, Gareth just spoke about it there. They're off to the Faroe Islands, and that would be a absolutely wonderful trip for anyone who's going. You can listen to that game on Drive 105. I was lucky enough to do a few games with Drive 105 this season. Unfortunately, I didn't get the call for the Faroe Islands, but that's okay. It's a place I'd love to go and see, actually. It's a place that's kind of strongly connected to St. Pat's fans, given that Brian Kerr was the manager of the Faroe Islands. Is that a bit of a stretch? Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, there was, as we say, some late dramatics at the Ryan McBride Brandywell. It was the same at Dalymount Park, where Dundalk were leading 2-1 well into the second half. But Bowes turned it around. ExtraTime.com's Aoife Mullen was there. Aoife, tell us about it.
You mentioned Derry off to the Faroe Islands, Dundalk obviously off to Gibraltar during the week, and they would have wanted to go off the back of a positive result. They would have wanted to keep that run going and keep that momentum going, because they were coming into this in a good run of form. The first half, like as you said, Dundalk were on top at the break. You'd wonder, and I'm sure Stephen O'Donnell was feeling very lucky to be in that position, because Bowes came out really, really strong. They were very much on top in the first half, and it was Dundalk's first shot, really, through Lee Coco, that ended in the back of the net, that gave them their first goal, which was the equaliser after Bowes had gone ahead after 15 minutes. And like, their first effort on goal came after 3 minutes. So, they really set out their stall, and they came out all guns blazing at the start, and it was only a matter of time before they got their first goal. But Dundalk came back. It was 1-1 after 23 minutes. And then after 37 minutes, a Conor Malley header put Dundalk in front, and it was 2-1 at the break. So we wondered, would there be changes then after half time? But the game resumed. The two sides came out, same lineup. And I guess, like as I said, Bowes were playing well. So from Declan Devine's point of view, it was, more of the same. Keep trying and the chances will inevitably come. It did take until about the 60th minute for things to really liven up. And it was a bit scrappy until then. Dundalk did have a chance, and it was almost a carbon copy of that Conor Malley goal, where there was a cross in from Davis, and it could very well have ended in a Dundalk goal. And then it was Bowes who had another chance in the 67th minute to equalise. They failed to do that. But then in the 70th minute, I suppose 20 minutes left to play on the clock, Declan Devine turned to his bench, brought on two players, and they proved to be pivotal changes, really. So, at that stage, Twardek came on for Declan McDade, who had been very strong throughout the game, and John O'Sullivan came on for Adam O'Donnell, and it was John O'Sullivan then who got that all-important equaliser after 81 minutes. And I think that really got the team going, but got the crowd going. And we know how important home advantage is. From a Dundalk point of view, that was so evident last Friday in the game against Shamrock Rovers, when the crowd are behind you. That cliche of, the extra man, but it's certainly the crowd in Dalymount, the home crowd, were stunned, but in full voice when that equaliser went in. And you felt that if any team was to get the next goal, it would probably be Bowes. We didn't have too much time to think about it, because that is what happened. And we say that momentum is such a huge thing in football. I mentioned it there, that from the Dundalk point of view, they would have wanted to go into the European game on Thursday carrying that momentum, but certainly once Afolabi shot hit the back of the net, I think the crowd at Dalymount, everybody was off their seats at that point, and we knew then a crucial end 5 minutes coming up, and then the fourth official had announced that there'd be 5 additional minutes played. So at that point, could there be more drama? Well, we saw it around the other grounds that there could be. Dundalk, you would feel, would get one more chance, and they had brought on Ryan O'Kane, who obviously injected a bit of pace. Keith Ward had come on. So Dundalk were looking for that little bit of magic, but perhaps those changes were just coming too late, when they really needed to force a chance and to get an equaliser. Maybe it just was too little too late at that point. And we did say, like, one more chance perhaps, that the Dundalk would have one last opportunity. And certainly towards the end, when the ball fell to Patrick Hooban, and from a Dundalk point of view, who else would you want the ball to fall to? But his shot in additional time was deflected, and then John Martin just couldn't capitalise on the rebound. Fair play to James Talbot. He was able to save, but I know the away section in the mono stand, the Dundalk fans would have been calling for a penalty perhaps, but you get those decisions, and on the balance of play, that there are plenty of decisions that I suppose could have been one way or another. But the crucial point is that at the end of the day, 3-2 to Bows. Very tight now at that point of the table, 4th and 5th, just 1 point separating Dundalk and Bohemians. So certainly the Gypsies will be feeling very happy, given that they also have 2 games in hand. So you've mentioned the 4 teams playing in Europe. They've obviously all played 25 games at this point. Bows have played 23. So they have those 2 games in hand over the top 4, and they've just closed that gap to the very, very minimum, just 1 point between them. So you would wonder at this stage, Dundalk with 11 games left to play, was this a crucial game? Was this a turning point in the race for European football next season? We don't know, but it felt like a very important night in Dalymount. They will certainly take a lot from this result and from the manner in which they were able to come back and to boss really Dundalk on the field and to come away with 3 really valuable points.
And it sounds like they deserve them. Bohemians beating Dundalk by 3-2 at Dalymount Park. Aoife Mullen of extratime.com. Thank you very much. Right, let's go to Richmond Park, where Cork City pulled it out of the fire with a late equaliser from Rory Keating. The ball was sent up the park. Cian Murphy threw his head at it. It kind of broke into the path of Keating, who had a shot saved just minutes before, but he wasn't to be denied this time. Beautiful ball into the bottom corner. Nothing Dean Linus could do. St. Pat's were on top for the bulk of the game, but were punished for not scoring the second goal. Their only goal of the game, their first goal, was a beauty from Jake Mulroney. If you haven't seen it, I recommend that you check it out. That's his sixth goal of the season in the league, and he's third against Cork City. After the game, I spoke to Liam Buckley, the Cork City boss, and John Daly, the St. Pat's boss. We talked a bit about their European adventure coming up. But first, let's get the analysis of Keith Treacy, formerly of St. Pat's in the Republic of Ireland. He was on a LOI TV commentary duty alongside me, and I put it to him that maybe, just maybe, City were a bit lucky to get a point out of the game. Did he agree or disagree? Let's find out.
I wouldn't say they were lucky, because although Pats were dominant in all the statistics, possession, shots on target, successful passes, crosses into the box, all the stats you want to look at, but they were only 1-0 up in the game, and Cork had chances in the game. Rory Keating had a volley that was well saved by Linus. They were putting some balls into the box that you're thinking, if there's a little bit more quality going in there, Cork have every chance of hitting the back of the net. Pat scored a goal, and the goal from Mulroney, it's a brilliant piece of individual talent, but never really able to, pepper the Cork goal, never really able to turn the screw. And from a Cork perspective, I thought it was a brilliant away performance. They killed it when they had to. They didn't let Pats, steamroll them, which they can do to teams at Richmond. So I thought Cork and Liam Buckley's would be really, really happy with that. It was a bit of a smash and grab at the end. It was a brilliant finish from Keating, but when the game's 1-0, you have every chance of still getting something out of it.
For St. Pat's, we did notice it in the second half, that the energy dropped. Why was that, and why couldn't they pick it up? Well, they did pick it up, but they couldn't find the second goal.
Yeah, to be fair though, you see, Oisin, there was a bit of a lull in the game. Cork were building into, they were keeping the ball, they'd more possession, they were getting it out wide, and as we said, the quality coming into the box wasn't up to scratch, and Pats were doing enough to defend it. But in terms of, you want to see Pats just take the bull by the horn. You see John Daly bringing on Owen Doyle and Tom Lonergan. That was because he knew his team needed another goal to see this one safe. He knew Cork would get a chance, and it would just be whether or not Cork would hit the back of the net. They managed to hit the back of the net, but Pats will be really, really disappointed with that. They had chances to get it over the line. Game management wasn't really something they were looking to do because they felt comfortable in it. There was an avenue there for Pats to win that game. They were a better team on paper, better team on the night, but haven't won the game.
And it's really frustrating for Pats, because had they won tonight, they would have only been 2 points off Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah, and look, that's what we want. I think Pats, people are always asking me now, are Pats in the title race? I think Pats are definitely in the title race, but they need to just take it game by game. They don't want to look too far ahead of themselves, thinking we need to win this, and this. Just take every game as it comes. Obviously, they're going into Europe now. Just take that, enjoy that as it comes, but don't forget about the league form. The league form's been really, really good, especially here at home. Just keep playing well and see where that takes you game by game.
Let's talk about the new signings tonight. David Norman came on and did okay for St. Pat's. He was involved in the concession of the equaliser, but I don't think the blame can come his way. It was just one of those high balls that kind of got caught between a few bodies and then fell to Keating. He finished it off very well. Tiernan Brooks, the new guy for Cork City, the keeper, he was actually playing very well and then had to go off injured and was replaced by Jimmy Corcoran. But 2 good debuts tonight. Yeah,
2 really good debuts. I thought Norman was good. There was a couple of times Cork done the big diag right onto his head, seeing how he dealt with that. Dealt with really well, looked like a comfortable footballer as well. put one or two decent tackle in, and I thought the Cork goalkeeper, before he had to go off, was actually quite good. Some of the balls into the box, we spoke beforehand that when a new goalkeeper comes into a team, you will look to put him under pressure, but he looked really, really good, really able, and hopefully his injury is not too bad.
This was your first time seeing City in the flesh in a while. What did you make of them?
I thought you were good. You said in commentary that it's a second in the table against second last in the table, and for long periods of the game, it didn't look like there was that big of a gulf between the two teams. I thought it was very nip and tuck, and I think Pats just have that little bit more quality in the final third, and that's ultimately what is the difference between the two teams. But Cork managed to find a way, and I have to say, I know Liam Buckley's renowned for playing through the tours, playing football, possession-based football, but they mixed it up well here, hybrid approach, and managed to get something out of a game that you wouldn't expect them to.
And it was that mix that got them the equaliser. They put Cian Murphy and Rory Keating up top. They brought on Conor Drynan, another man actually who made his debut tonight. He signed from Cove Ramblers during the week and played very well. And they did get their goal. So, a lot of credit has to go to their management.
Of course, yeah. And look, the Pats press was it was decent at times. They were going after people, and you could see the bodies were getting a little bit more tired. And at the end of the game, tactics sort of go out to the window. You start lumping balls into the box, and as you see with the Cork equaliser, it only takes one or two kind deflections, and all of a sudden you have a chance on goal. So, for all the beautiful, pretty play, if you pump a ball into the box, it has to be defended. And Cork, I think, mix it up quite well at times.
Before I let you go, St. Pat's going to Europe next week. They're away to Dundalk in the Europa Conference League. Dundalk are playing Bruno's Magpies. And Shamrock Rovers are up against an Icelandic team, the name of which I forget, in the Champions League. First of all, how important is it that all the teams, at the very least, get over the first hurdles in Europe?
Hey, well, you'd like to think they could all get over it. The league is getting stronger all the time. And, when I was playing for St. Pat's and Europe rolled around, it made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You were looking forward to it. The media were coming into training. They were making sure it just made everybody sharper. So I think Pat's next week I think there is an eye on it. I think we can all say that there shouldn't be an eye on it, but I think every player wants to play in Europe. You look for that fixture as soon as the fixture list comes out. So, look, it's to be. We're all wishing for it to come. It's all coming now, but Pats need to just keep one eye on the league, because you don't want to put all your eggs in the European basket.
I'd say I get very excited about Europe, and I support every League of Ireland club in Europe. Do you?
Yeah, of course I do. I just want the league to do well. I actually think that's a good thing about the Irish League, is that when we're, if Pats are not playing in Europe, we all go to Dundalk. If Dundalk aren't playing,
well, we don't all support them though.
We don't all support them. We all want the league to do well. I think that's the underlying thing with everybody.
Keith Treacy, thank you very much. Of course, Keith joining us here on the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. Before that, though, he was on duty for LOI TV, where he was on co-commentary with me for St. Pat's 1-1 draw with Cork City. So let's get some management reaction from here in Richmond Park, which you will hear right now. John, is that 2 points dropped?
Of course, when you can see it that late in the game, of course it is. Obviously 1-0, I thought it was a relatively scrappy game, and Jake produced the moment of magic. I thought we were the better team over the piece. I think we didn't have an awful lot. I don't remember Dean having loads of saves to make. And we don't defend a long ball. I think we could have squeezed the line a bit quicker on the ball back, and we don't, and potentially a foul, but we're not going to argue about that. There's loads of little things that happen then. I think you get a ricochet, and then Keaton, to be fair to him, takes it well. It's a good finish across goal. All good strikers finish across the goalkeeper, and he done that well.
How frustrating was it not to get the second goal, and why didn't you get the second goal?
Of course it's frustrating. I think the last little bit of quality, the last pass, the last maybe bit of movement wasn't there. So that's obviously why we didn't score. It's obviously frustrating, but we still should see the game out 1-0. We're comfortable. As I said, we changed to a back three to nullify their two strikers, and I thought they'd done it really well. We dealt with most situations, most balls forward, and the one ball we didn't deal with, we got punished.
I know it's disappointing to lose the 2 points, but in some ways, is there a lot of satisfaction to be taken with the fact that you had a lot of possession and created a lot of chances and got at least one in for a debut tonight, David Norman?
Yeah, but it still doesn't change the result. Obviously it's great when you have possession and you have chances, but you have to take them. You have to put teams to bed. If you don't in this league, you leave yourself open to get punished, and that's what happened. To be fair to Cork, they pushed at the end, and as I said, it's just there's nothing to the goal. It's just a long ball up the pitch. We don't win the first contact, we don't pick up the second ball, and then it drops to one of the top strikers in the league, and he punished us.
Is it doubly frustrating because Shamrock Rovers also dropped points tonight, and had you won, the gap would have been down to 2?
Of course, yeah. I think most teams will look at results throughout the season and see it as, disappointing, points dropped throughout the season. Obviously, when you're 1-0 up at home, coming into the, inside the last 2 minutes of the game, you expect to see it out, and we need to learn from it. We've got a young group in there, so we need to learn from it and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
It's all eyes on Europe now. Will there be a buzz and anticipation and excitement ahead of next Wednesday's clash in Luxembourg?
Yeah, we'll obviously get over the disappointment of tonight, but then I think once that fades, you can then focus on next week. Obviously myself and the staff are switched our attention now to the European game to try and do what we can to get through that and see if we can get through a round.
Given the financial rewards, I appreciate it's football, people, you want to succeed in the footballing sense, but given the financial rewards and all that, is there pressure going into Europe, or is it different to the league? What way does it work?
No, I'm obviously well aware of the financial rewards for the club, and it's great if we can get through a few rounds, and we're obviously quite ambitious how far we want to go, so we obviously focus on the football side. I don't think when you're playing you think of the rewards of finances, etc. So but I'm obviously aware of what it means to the club, what it means to supporters. You don't even think the fans are probably thinking about the money side of it. We're all looking to go on a trip, and they're looking forward to go and play in different opposition. So yeah, we'd like to go through a round or two and see where we can go.
It'll be planes, trains and automobiles for the fans to Luxembourg. Best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Liam Buckley, that's a big point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an important point for us, bearing in mind where we're at the moment, and the way the other results went this evening. So, yeah, I'm delighted with it, to be honest.
St. Pat's dominated possession and had more chances, but City stayed in the game, and in the second half you could sense the tension growing around here. Did you take advantage of that and maybe pounce on it in the end?
Yeah, well, it's important that we scrapped it out and stayed in the game right to the end. And as I said to them, you'll get a few chances, you'll get 2 or 3 chances, and if you can get one, you never know what can happen from there. So I didn't plan to have it scored in the 92nd minute, but delighted with the finish from Rudy. So look, it is a great point, and in fairness to the lads, they have worked hard out of possession to make it difficult for Pats to get, and they can get too many clear-cut chances, as in they should have scored, kind of way. So as I say, it's a really good point.
Talk me through the goal, because while there was a little bit of luck in the way it fell to Keating, there was no luck about the finish. But Cian Murphy battled for it. I think Conor Drynan was in there as well. So that wasn't an accident. That's good management and good play.
Yeah, look, we pushed Conor on, obviously, from where we're at here, losing 1-0. As I said, they worked hard, and in fairness to them, I wouldn't begrudge them their point, kind of. And as I said to them, look, if they put in the same effort right through to the end of the season, we'll pick up a few points, and hopefully that'll be enough to get us up the table.
Is it a moral boosting point in the sense that it was second from bottom against second tonight, so that this would not be a place that you'd be expected to come and get anything from?
No, and in fairness to Pats, having a great season, having been up here over the years, big crowds. I'm delighted to doing so well. But from where I'm at now, I want Cork up the table. So we need to get our project better, which we're working on with the lads, and we will get it better. With the transfer window coming up, we'll bring in 1 or 2 to try and strengthen the group up right through to the end of the season and see where we go from there with it.
A stroke of bad luck for your debutant goalkeeper, Tiernan Brooks. He was playing well and then had to go off injured.
Yeah, he's got a kick in the instep, so we'll have to wait and see how that is. It was just bruised up a little bit, so hopefully it's not too serious.
Conor Drynan impressed on his debut.
Yeah, he's very well. Delighted for him. We signed him in last week. He's only in about a week with us in training, so but he did really well. I'm delighted with him. Yeah.
Can we expect more signings from a City point of view?
Yeah, we'll definitely try and get in 1 or 2. It's not that easy, especially when you look at the local market here in relation to what you can and can't do, and then getting players in from abroad. The timing isn't ideal if they're not fit, if they've been off for a month or 6 weeks, etc., etc. But we're working on it, and please God we can get in 1 or 2, through the window.
Shorter journey back to Cork City tonight with the point in hand.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cheers, Liam.
Thank you.
Oisin, we're all over here at Weavers Park. I do not have a 3-minute podcast for you because it's finished Shamrock Rovers 0, Drogheda United 0. That's 6 results now. Shamrock Rovers have been unable to take all 3 points against Drogheda United, a place that they absolutely hate coming to is Weavers Park. They're just unable to break this Drogheda United team down again. Not a lot of action to report from the first half. Graham Burke's long range effort from about 30 yards, the only real chance in the first half that caused Wogan maybe a little bit of trouble, but he still palmed it away. You thought you might see more of a reaction come the second half from Shamrock Rovers, but it didn't come. And Drogheda United then, with Luke Heaney after about 65 minutes smashing the post from about 35 yards, turned out to be Drogheda's best chance of stealing all 3 points. Rovers did that a bit more possession then after the hour mark, but still unable to break this Drogheda United team down. Adebayo and Conor Keeley were brilliant at the heart of the defence. Dylan Watts did come close with hitting the crossbar from the edge of the box as well. 2 maybe half penalty claims, 1 for either side. 1 came in the first half with Darren Markey and Graham Burke. Darren Markey going down probably a bit too easy. And Rovers had 1 wave down as well in the second half. But again, it's a night and a frustrating night for Shamrock Rovers, where they were, again, as I said, unable to break this Drogheda United team down. And as I said, 6 results now that Rovers have been unable to get 3 points off Drogheda United. Kevin will be very happy with the point tonight. Shamrock Rovers very disappointed with obviously Derry City winning tonight, and St Pat's were looking to close ground as well, but unable to with a late goal from Cork City. But as I said, not much to report or give you tonight. Finish 0-0 here in Weavers Park.
Well, that's it for the extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. Just to run through the first division results: Kerry beaten 3-2 at home to Treacy United. Waterford drawing 2-2 with Longford. Wexford losing 4-1 to Athlone at home. Cove Ramblers drawing 1-1 with Galway United, and Finn Harps drawing 0-0 with Bray Wanderers. What does that mean for the first division table? Galway still on top by 13 points. They're on 59. Waterford second on 46. Cove Ramblers third on 36. Athlone fourth on 32. Bray fifth on 30. Treaty United sixth on 27. Wexford 7th on 25. Longford 8th on 22. Finn Harps second from bottom on 22. And Kerry bottom. Best of luck to the Republic of Ireland women's team. They should be in Australia by now. It's going to be a great summer, and hopefully, at the very least, they can get out of their group in the World Cup. There'll be a lot more on that during the week on the extratime.com podcast with Luke Jordan. He'll take a deep dive into everything that's happening in the league, and they'll look even more ahead to that game. I know he was watching the Ireland-France game the other night, and in the days leading up to that, they did a podcast with lots of interviews from the Irish camp that are actually still quite relevant, because a lot of it is just kind of World Cup general build-up stuff. It didn't really concentrate on kind of leading up to the France game, which was a friendly and it was important, but you know, there was a wider conversation held about the World Cup. That's it for myself, Oisin Langan. As always, you can get me on @ExtraTimeNews or @Oisin Langan, and you'll get all the reports and information that you need on extratime.com. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.